Now that I get a better view of these two trees, I think you probably want to upgrade that to the 50 watt equivalent lamp. And again, same thing on this one. I'd probably have one on both sides. And then on this one, because it's a little bit skinnier, it's not as big of a canopy, I think you could just put one from whichever you would prefer the viewing angle on. Throw some of the standard uplights kind of in between on some of the smaller stuff. And then if you wanted to, you could add those path and garden lights kind of in between.
Hey guys, it's Cal from The Lighting Doctor here. I hope you guys enjoy this video with some more great landscape lighting tips. To learn more about landscape lighting, go and check out our website at lightingdoctor.ca, or if you want to see what a real quality landscape light should look like, go and check out our Try It Before You Buy It offer, where you can get a premium quality fixture at a discounted rate with your very own battery pack, so you can go and test out how that light's going to look and feel what a real premium quality light should look like. So go and check us out at lightingdoctor.ca, or go watch more videos on YouTube just by searching for The Lighting Doctor.
Hey, Greg, thanks for sending your pictures here. Really great property. I mean, you could literally spend a boatload on lights just in this front area, but I'll kind of give you some ideas that'll be a little bit lighter on your pocketbook. And really the best effect and the best way to do it is just with some uplights. The only thing I'll talk about is some of those tall trees that you have. A standard uplight is probably not going to be bright enough, so you can usually upgrade these to, most of them are, they're a 4 watt LED lamp, which they call a 20 watt halogen equivalent, but in a lot of cases you'll want to use either a 35 watt equivalent or a 50 watt equivalent, just depending on how tall that tree is, and I'll kind of explain that as I go through the video. And then lastly, in a couple areas you may want to use an in-ground light too. Basically same thing, same options and everything with this. The only difference is some areas where you don't have a bed and you don't want something sticking out of the grass. This is a good option because it can be flush, and you can just mow right over it, so it's just less maintenance. So I think what I would do, Greg, is I would really just focus on the bigger stuff. I mean, a lot of people will put a bunch of path and garden lights in an area like this because it's such a big area. Like I said, you could end up spending a lot of money on lights. So I'll give you some other options. I mean, first off, on any of these big trees, especially like you kind of have on the edges, I would definitely just use an uplight on the front of those. Something to consider, especially for the bigger ones, is your viewing angle. If you want it to look good from the street, I would get that light on this side, but for some of the bigger ones, you may want to have a light on this side as well as a light on the other side, so that as you're looking out from the house, not that you still won't get an effect up in the canopy and stuff if you only have a light on this side from the house, but I like really highlighting the big trees and really making them pop. So I'd probably have a light, one of those uplights. And on these guys here, I was just trying to see the size, but oh, sorry, different house. But on the size of these trees, I would probably put that 35 watt equivalent one that I kind of talked about. So upgrade that bulb a little bit, and it's just going to do a better job of pushing that light up a little bit further. And another suggestion I'll make, and I see so many people do this, is whenever we're highlighting this stuff, they'll put the light back here and they kind of shine it at the plant, where really you're better off getting it a little bit closer and having shine more upright, especially on like trees like this and big trees like this. Because you really want to get that light to that top of the canopy, and if you bring it back too far and try and shine it at it, you miss a lot of the stuff up top. So just a quick suggestion. But then in this front area, what I would do is I would really just focus on some of the, the taller stuff. I would probably throw an uplight on here. I would probably throw an uplight on here. I'd probably throw another uplight on here, just the standard ones. And you've got them nice and evenly spaced, that I think that will do a nice job. If after you get those done, the one thing I would recommend is just leave a little extra wire in there, because if you decide later, I do want to go put a path and garden light or something like that, because of the spacing and the way you have everything planted, you could just go put one in the middle, and not that it's going to light up this whole area, but what it'll really do is just create a nice balance of some uplighting on some of the taller stuff, and then kind of some downlighting on some of the smaller shrubs. So you could kind of do that and not have to go too overboard with lighting in that in that front area. So like I said, uplights probably on both sides. You have an uplight, an uplight, an uplight, probably from the street side. And if you wanted to, you could always throw those, a couple path lights, maybe one or two. I don't know if one would quite be enough. This area is a little bit more stretched out, so you might need two in an area like that, maybe one in here, maybe one in here, and then maybe two in an area like that. But again, that's something you can always put after, because I think you just really want to focus on on the larger stuff. Same thing on a tree like this. And now that I get a better view of these two trees, I think you probably want to upgrade that to the 50 watt equivalent lamp. And again, same thing on this one. I'd probably have one on both sides. And then on this one, because it's a little bit skinnier, it's not as big of a canopy, I think you could just put one from whichever you would prefer the viewing angle on. Throw some of the standard uplights kind of in between on some of the smaller stuff. And then if you wanted to, you could add those path and garden lights kind of in between. And then same thing on a tree like this. This is where I would probably highlight this, but I would use an in-ground light, because last thing you want is a light fixture sticking out of the grass that now you got to weed trim around and stuff. And you know, if you got a tractor, I mean, I know what's going to happen. I've seen it enough. Eventually, it's going to get hit. So having that in-ground light, you can just mow right over it. I would probably use that 35 watt equivalent lamp on a tree of this size. And same thing. I don't know if you necessarily need two on this one, because I think you're doing a good job of these outside ones. So I might throw one just kind of on this side. And even sometimes to the angle here, if you're looking from the street side and this is kind of your viewing angle, just having that a little bit more in front this way, it just creates those different viewing angles. And it kind of, so not everything just looks lit up from the front. It just gives you all those different kind of vantage points, if that makes sense. Kind of been through this already. And then the only other thing I did want to mention, Greg, is something you might want to consider is on the house. I think something that could look really nice, and it all depends how much room and stuff you have back here. I wouldn't hesitate to try and light up some of these larger trees, even if you wanted to create a viewing angle from the front. I don't know what your backyard looks like, but a lot of times what I like doing is lighting these trees with some of those 50 watt equivalent lamps, whether it be an uplight or an in-ground light, and just having a couple of them back here, because what that does is now if you're lighting up these canopies, it also looks really cool from the front. And as people are looking by, they're like, oh man, that looks good up front. What's it look like in the back if those canopies are lit? So it's just kind of a little trick to, again, create different depths of light. And the last thing, if it's possible, I don't know how much room you have back here on the deck and stuff, but I would probably look at trying to throw an uplight on each one of these kind of columns that you have here, especially because you have the flags and everything. I'm not sure if there's more over here, if they just kind of end there. I like doing that because it just makes the whole porch really stand out and inviting. You get some reflective light back down on the shrubs and gardens down here, as well as you create some a backlighting effect where you kind of have the silhouette of whatever's growing in front. And it's a really nice touch. So just something else you may want to consider too. But if you have any other questions, need help maybe putting together a kit or anything like that, let me know and we would be happy to help. Hey guys, so I just want to show you, we're going to use our accent light a whole bunch in this property. And a lot of common areas we're going to use that is on some nice trees. We got a really nice tree here that we're going to try and focus on. But one thing I see people do too often, or more times than not, is instead of trying to get that light nice and close to the tree and having it shine up, so you're taking advantage of all the barking structure and then all the branching up top, is they'll bring it far back and try and aim it at the tree. And what happens there is they tend to miss a lot of the lower portions of the trees. And then also when it, you know, depending on the area you live in, if you start losing a lot of foliage in the wintertime, then having that light shine at all the foliage is kind of a waste of time, and you lose a lot of the effect of that light. That's why I like having it closer to the tree. You know, here we're maybe 12, 14, 18 inches away from the base. We're going to have it shooting almost straight up because I want to highlight all this trunking and branching structure as possible, as well as now we're getting that light up into the foliage and into the canopy. So again, with our standard RS uplight from FX Luminaire, there's lots of other good ones out there. I like this guy because it's a real workhorse, and that's what we're going to use on this project. Hey guys, I really hope you enjoyed that video presentation with some great tips and tools on how to go and properly and effectively light up your landscape. And be sure, if you want your own free consultation video, just send me an email at cal@lightingdoctor.ca with a few pictures of your property, and we'll get back to you with some really cool ideas and ways to go and effectively light your property. And be sure to watch the videos after this one for more tips on how to install landscape lighting, as well as how to light up your landscape the best way possible.